Today we have arguably, well, not arguably to me, but some people, but to me, the greatest pound for pound all time fighter ever in history, the one and only Superman, Captain Hook, body head banger, Roy Jones Jr. Joining us again, good friend of ours. Also, jumping on the conversation is power lifter, motivational speaker, just all around boxing historian, good guy, Mr. C.T. Fletcher. Let's get into this. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite episodes.
Your main guest
Roy,
is the legendary Roy Jones Jr.
the greatest fighter of all time. There he is.
Oh,
There.
oh. I gotta be quiet now. I'm just gonna start talking shit. I gotta be quiet now. The champ is here. I can't talk no shit now.
He's frozen.
Get the camera straight now, Roy.
You're sideways.
Get the camera straight now, Roy. I can't talk no shit with you sideways like that, man. There you go. There you go, champ. There you go, champ. Hey, your number one fan is here. I can't say nothing about Roy Jones Jr. with this. I thought I was a big Roy Jones, but you can't say shit about Roy Jones Jr.
No,
that young man right there.
What it is I recognize the skill and the talent and what it is. I recognize what it is. That's all. I'm not making anything up.
That's true. It's
like I tell people all the time, the bad thing about it is that when you look at it, the fact of the matter is this. People always say, this one, that one, the other one. When you have people compare people to people, they don't say a guy is the Bernard Hopkins of UFC or the Antonio Tarver of UFC or the Floyd Mayweather even of UFC. They'll say a guy is the Roy Jones of UFC. What does that tell you? How dominant Roy Jones was. You understand me? And when they speak Roy Jones, they talk dominance. So people can say what they want to. I'm not saying nothing against nobody. There are a lot of great fighters. But the point is, when they use you, I don't have to say it. I don't do it. They do it. They don't say he the Floyd Mayweather of MMA or he the, like I say, Antonio Tarver of MMA or Bernard Hopkins of MMA or even James Toney. I mean, and those guys are great fighters. But when they speak of dominance, they say Roy Jones Jr. Why? Because in all those guys' primes, who was the most dominating factor? Roy. No question about it. So it's like, I don't have to toot my own horn. That's just facts. Max Kellerman said on the thing, he said, listen, y'all said you want to. When Floyd was there in Roy Jones Jr. prime, nobody questioned who was the best at that time. They knew who the best was. There was no question about it. Now, big things come with big sacrifice. So I went and did something that was huge because no middleweight had won a heavyweight championship in over 100 years.
Yep.
106 years at the time. So I wanted to go do something that was remarkably unique, which you had to pay a big price for it. So I did. I paid my price, and when I came back down to light heavyweight, I never was the same. But I still beat Tarver with heart on that night. And that was something that people had never seen in me. They knew I had boxing skills, but they never knew I had heart. That first fight with Tarver, I had to prove that I had a heart because I had no energy, no nothing. All I had was a heart and my faith in God. And that's what I won with. After that, the rest was history. But at that point, it was nothing nobody could say about Roy Jones Jr. Nothing.
Here's what bothers me. When I get to the conversation about the greatest, people try and bring up the losses later in your career. And I'm like, this man dominated for 15 years. Like Mike Tyson dominated in his prime, let's be honest, for about 4 or 5 years, right? You dominated for almost 15 years.
Exactly.
Come on.
I went through De La Hoya era, the Sugar Shane era, the Lennox Lewis era. I went through all them eras, and I still was there. Don't talk. Like I said, with a big accomplishment comes a big sacrifice. Nobody in over 106 years had went from middleweight to heavyweight, and only but one dude ever did it then. One. No other fighter on planet Earth that has, dead or alive, has ever turned pro as a junior middleweight and became heavyweight champion of the world. What more do you need to say? No other fighter ever. What more can you say? And there's some great fighters. This man right here was a great fighter. There's some great fighters in the world. I'm not saying that. I'm not knocking nobody about nothing. But what other man can you ever say, dead or alive, that turned pro as a junior middleweight and became heavyweight champion of the world? The great Sugar Ray Robinson passed out trying to become the light heavyweight champion of the world. He was a welterweight, but he tried to become the light heavyweight champ, and he passed out. And I mean, it ain't an easy feat. You understand?
Yeah.
For me to go ahead and survive with Tarver, I damn near passed out. It's not an easy feat.
Well,
but
I did.
Look, but I
Champ,
did.
Can't nobody dispute a damn thing you just said. That's
all I'm saying.
Look, when you went up to heavyweight, won the title, I mean, ain't a motherfucker alive can dispute anything that you just said. The only person that I was going to bring up is the one that you just brought up, and that's Sugar Ray Robinson. Going from welterweight and damn near won the light heavyweight title. And the only thing stopping him from doing it was exhaustion. But he damn near did it. He didn't quite do it.
But I didn't damn near. I did it.
Yeah. But you know what I'm gonna say, champ? You know what I'm gonna say?
What's that?
I'm gonna say number of fights. That's why I'm gonna give Sugar Ray just a tiny bit now, because a number of fights. He had the longevity that you had.
Yeah, and they'll let us have him in the fight for more. So I'm saying, if I can fight 3 times a week, trust me, or 3 times a month, trust me, I would have. So I understand, but times have changed. But let me explain this to you too.
They definitely.
Let me explain this to you too, though. Of all the great fighters we know, of all the great fighters you and I and all of us on the phone know, right now, if you stop and think about it, what other fighter in history would they even say that they would think could go from junior middleweight to heavyweight and have a chance? None. They ain't gonna tell you. They ain't gonna tell you nobody. Nobody that they're gonna even tell you that they believe can go do that. It just ain't gonna happen. Superman on the one. Superman on the one. But they gonna tell you somebody better than Superman? Come on, but really? Superman the only person that they believe.
Wait just a minute.
Superman the only person that they ever believe without kryptonite that could go up that heavy and do it for real. Ain't nobody else they believe that about. All other person that believed that about was Ali beating George Foreman. That was the only other thing that you could equate to that, because many people didn't believe Ali could beat George Foreman, but Ali did. And Ali did it. That was a world shocker, because nobody thought he would come back and be able to beat George Foreman at that age or at that time of his life. You understand me?
Well, was it any more shocking than when he beat Sonny Liston? Was it any more shocking than when he beat Sonny Liston?
To me, it was, because George was a killer.
What was Sonny?
What was Sonny?
He was destroying everybody.
He was. But what I'm saying was, yeah, you're right. You probably right.
He was destroying everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
you're right.
Also, people don't realize, Roy, when you got that loss to Tarver, you were what, 34, 35?
Yeah.
Right? Now, you started boxing at what, age 7?
10.
That's a lot of mileage. People don't realize that 34 years old back in your era and earlier, starting to box at that young age, that's a lot of mileage. You know what I mean? So that's just the course of human nature. You fight long enough.
Then, not steroids, used the right way, protein the right way, 25 pounds of muscles, not steroids. 25 pounds of muscle, get tested for steroids every time, then come back down and take that same 25 pounds of muscle back off and have the heart to survive 12 rounds with another dude that's a magnificent puncher and win. Come on, bro.
Like,
Come on, bro. Who else could do that?
You know what?
Come on, bro.
Roy, I got to, if I had a motherfucking hat on, I'd pull the motherfucker off. Because I got to take my hat off to you. Hell yeah.
What the truth is.
Look, they don't give enough credit for that.
Exactly. I like
drug-free.
The facts for the facts.
No shit. That's a hell of a thing right there, Roy Jones Jr. You said a whole lot.
Yeah, let me ask you
a whole lot.
Besides your
heavyweight, shit. You said you know what? I might have to side with you, man. I might have to rethink. I always had Sugar Ray Robinson, my boy. I'm sorry.
Sugar
Ray Robinson always been my boy. Because, you know, I'm an older dude. That's more of my, you know, I'm an older guy, so it's more of my era. Sugar Ray Robinson, man, you know, I always, you know, welterweight, damn near light heavyweight champion of the world, was whooping everybody 186 fights before he lost one. I mean, that was the man as far as I was concerned. That was the greatest of all time in boxing. But you know what? You're making a damn compelling argument, Roy Jones. You're making a compelling argument.
Let me ask you something, Roy. Besides yourself, who do you think, excluding yourself, top 3 greatest fighters of all time?
Well,
that's a good question.
Said, first thing in my mind, always gonna be Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? Not because of his in the ring activity, but because of his inside and outside the ring activity. You know what I'm saying? I would never tell nobody that Muhammad Ali ain't the greatest fighter of all time, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be who I am. So I can't tell you that and I can include me. I'm gonna put it over me and everybody else, because without him, there would be no me. You understand where I'm coming from? So I'm not that guy that's too humble to say no. I'm gonna bow down to the great Muhammad Ali first, because without him, there's no me, and I'm not scared to say that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people won't tell the truth about the facts. A lot of people won't admit that where they got it from or who they stole what from. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Without the great Muhammad Ali, I wouldn't even start boxing. You understand me? So, in my eyes, he's always going to be number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, I'm going to probably ride with him on Sugar Ray Robinson, because to go 186 fights before you lose one, that's a pretty good damn stretch. You understand me? And wasn't ducking and dodging nothing. See, I come from the old school, them kind of guys who didn't believe in ducking and dodging nothing. You understand me? If we played baseball, we couldn't play for the Dodgers because we wasn't dodging nothing. You understand where I'm coming from? So, I agree with them guys. Number 3 is a guy y'all ain't going to believe and y'all ain't going to understand, but I'm going to tell y'all why in just a minute. Number 3, the greatest, to me, one of the best fighters of all time, and this kid, actually I got 2 of them. I'm gonna have a 3A and a 3B. My 3A is Salvador Sanchez. If you go back and look at 15-round fights, go back and look at him. And round 1, watch how he bounced between round 1 and round 2, and round 14 and round 15. Go look at him. He got the same damn bounce as he had between round 1 and 2, between round 14 and 15. That's an animal. You understand me? Who kept nothing but pressure on you all night long. Who can do whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, and whichever fashion you want to do it in, all night long. But to keep it real, and the only reason you got to understand, Sugar Ray Leonard is, to me, is another version of Sugar Ray Robinson, in the sense just that he even had the fights and all. So I'm not saying that because I really idolized Sugar Ray Leonard a lot too, because he was in my time. So but it's like him and Sugar Ray Robinson kind of balled up in one to me, kind of. But the other guy who was really, really good that people don't understand was the freaking Roberto Duran.
Woo!
Oh. Best trickster I ever seen. You understand me? If you didn't learn tricks and learn game from Roberto Duran, you ain't got no game. Roberto Duran was the best game thrower, best game guy, mental game of any of them I ever seen. So that's my top. That's my route, my Mount Rushmore.
And who do you think? Who's the greatest? Who's the best fighter you ever fought? Who would you put as like the most talented?
James Turner by far. James Turner by far. Say what you want. James Turner also went up and beat Ruiz. Just failed the drug test. But James Turner, Roy Jones in his prime had a hard time hitting James Turner. You hear me? If I couldn't hit him, I know the rest of them were hard to hit him. Reggie hit him and knocked him down, but he got up and beat Reggie. There was a few people that touched him, but not many people beat James Turner. You know what I mean? James Turner in shape, hard to deal with. I was having a hard time getting good punches on him, and I knew he struggled with the weight, and I knew he wasn't at his what he thought was the best. He thought because he had a size advantage it was gonna help him, but that size advantage that night didn't help, because I knew the extra weight, if I make him use his legs, it was gonna make him drain because he pulled down too much. But that's all part of boxing as well. So I did the same thing when I fought middleweight. I had to pull down so far, but I was always using my legs anyway because I played basketball and I stayed on the go. So I was ready for it, so you couldn't get me to use mine. But as far as skill for skill goes, that's one of the toughest guys, one of the smartest, best fighters I've ever seen in my life. Still.
Was there anybody you fought that you really truly didn't like?
No, not about it. I didn't like Griffin after the first fight because of the way, he talked about saying the things he just said about me between the first fight and the second fight, because truly I got disqualified, and it was really a bad disqualification to me, because all the referee had to do was say stop, and I would have stopped. But he disqualified me. Okay, I'm cool with that. But then for you to go, talk about me was kind of bad. So that kind of pissed me off a little bit. After the fight was over, I was immediately cool because I did what I had to go do, and I fixed it, and I was done with it. So that particular time, I didn't like him, but that was the only one. I'm cool with it now.
Who of these old, really great fighters of the generation before us, maybe one or two, would you have liked to test yourself against?
Ray Robinson, without a question. That was my first and really only test. Because Ray Robinson could do all the things that I did pretty much, except I think I had better footwork than him. So, and I was a little bit bigger than him, but I think I had better footwork. So it would have been an interesting fight because of the way he did things. And of course, I mean, anybody would like to get in front of Muhammad Ali, but I can tell you right now, Muhammad Ali was so good that at his age, in my prime, I got in the ring with Muhammad Ali. And when I get in the ring, I notice everything. In my boxing life, nobody ever has gotten in the ring and got in front of me, ever. You understand me? Muhammad Ali, as old as he was, we got in the ring playing around shadowboxing. That thing got in the ring and got in front of me. Blew my freaking mind. And I was in my prime. This thing got in front of me and I was in my prime, he got in front of me. I said,
what do you mean by
Well,
what do you mean by he got in front of you? What do you mean by he got in front of you?
It's called thinking, right? So in boxing, you have to try to get ahead of your opponent mentally before the fight ever starts, really. But once you get in the ring, your goal is to go out and make him plan on how he's going to defend against you before you let him make you plan on how you're going to defend against him. That's called getting in front of him. Nobody ever got in front of me. I always came out and made people to figure out how they're going to stop me before I had to figure out how to stop them. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really ever got in front of me. Muhammad Ali at his age came in there and got in front of me. And we were just shadowboxing, but he got in front of me. I was like, holy smoke. How did he just get in front of me? That don't happen to Roy Jones. You feel me? You understand? You don't get in front of Roy Jones. Not in
so we're talking Muhammad was what, in his 50s and you were like in your 20s? Yeah.
The late 20s, yeah. And this thing got in front of me. I said, ain't nowhere in the world. He got in front of me still at that age. And more people, like you just said, most people wouldn't understand that. But him and I understand it, but most people don't understand that. I was like, holy smoke. But once again, I learned from him. So if there was anybody that was going to ever get it from me, it would be the person who I learned it from. You understand me? And it shocked me that he still at that age could do that, because I probably was thinking, oh, I got to be careful because he ain't, he was a little frail at that point. He wasn't the prime Muhammad Ali. So I'm thinking, be careful because you don't want to, get him to make it, catch him if he trip over something or something. You don't want him to fall because to me, that's pressure jury. You feel me? I'm not going to let them have the Muhammad Ali playing. Even though we playing, I ain't going to let them have the Muhammad Ali, not on my clock, because this is where I started watching. While I'm thinking about all that, he done got in front of me. I'm like, holy smoke. How did he get in front of me that quick? I was shocked.
Wow. Now you put Ali as number one, the greatest of all times, and I put him in the same place, number one, the greatest of all time, for the same reasons that you did, champ. You said it's not only what he did inside the boxing ring, but what he did outside. I mean, that makes him. I was born in '59, so coming up to see this dude stand up and tell the whole United States government, kiss my ass. I am not going to Vietnam and kill some innocent people that ain't never called me the N-words. And I'm right here at home, and people call me. I ain't gonna do it. Hell no.
That's right.
Roy Jones Jr. Don't you know, brother? Look, I legally changed my middle name to Ali to honor that man. That was my idol. It's still my idol. That was my idol. The kid growing up, little old kid growing up in Compton, to hear him do that shit. The greatest of all time. We are in total agreement on that.
Forever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
I run that same road with you two. I too believe that Muhammad Ali is the greatest ever. Not for what he did in the ring, but for what he did.
Right. Well, I mean, when I think of I think of just boxing skill. But yeah, you're right. Out of the ring, he's definitely the greatest. But in the ring, to me, is a different story.
Yeah. I put the package together because, like I said, that's why I started boxing. So,
You started boxing because of Ali.
So what is Roy Jones doing now?
Training fighters, trying to pass these things, these beautiful blessings that God bestowed upon me, trying to pass them down to other fighters. So I'm steadily training fighters, Just trying to develop and give them everything that I can give them. You can only give so much, but you try to give all that you can give, because I feel like if God bless me with a gift and I don't go share with the world, then why did God give it to me?
That's true.
And word is on the street that you've been hanging out in Russia.
I stay in Russia a lot. And like I said, they checked me last time I came home to my for a terrorist. It's not about that. I go to Russia because in Russia, 95% of the population know me. And they know me because back in the days when they didn't have 1 or 2 TV channels, HBO was one of the channels that they got, that they was able to get when it was the Soviet Union. That was in Roy Jones Jr.'s prime. So 95% of Russia, 99% of Russia was forced to watch Roy Jones Jr. in his prime. So now they can see their life, and now they can see Roy Jones Jr. in person and really get to know and speak to and learn to know about this person. They love it. So it's like, how could you not? It's like Ali said, it's not about people that ain't never did nothing to you. It's about, you got to know what it really is. I haven't called the N-word in Russia. They don't talk to me about, I don't talk politics with them in Russia. It ain't none of my business. My goal is to try to get us all together on a social level so that people understand that God is the king of all of it. We're all supposed to be God's children. Why should we not be able to go anywhere we want to go in the world? Because it's not our world. Russia belongs to God just like the United States belongs to God. So if you understand all this belongs to God, then you shouldn't have no problem. When you start trying to say, no, this belongs to us, this belongs to me, or I'm better than you, then that's when the problems come. Egos bring about problems. I'm not the guy that's into egos. You understand me? So
before COVID hit, and I was traveling a bunch of different countries. Russia was like my favorite country to travel to. I had no problem whatsoever with the Russian people. You can look at the news all you want to, but the Russian people, they treated me like gold, man. I had a ball.
Some of the best people you ever gonna meet.
Yep. Wow. It's true.
I haven't been to Russia in a long time. I should go back again.
You should, because when we went back in the day, because I went in 1986 to the inaugural Goodwill game. It was a totally different place. It's a totally different place now than it was back then.
So right now, of the crop of fighters we got right now, who do you think are the top 3?
Well, to be honest, you got to give it to the top 3 earners right now would be Canelo, Terrence Crawford, and in my opinion, still, I got to go with Loma, because Loma does stuff that other people can't do in the boxing ring. Now, when you talk pound for pound, it ain't about who you beat, because really he's fighting above a weight class that he should be fighting. He should be fighting 26 still, but he's fighting 35 because he's going after the competition. But people like Lopez is going to be too big for him, because Lopez is a big 35-pounder. Anybody that's a big 35-pounder is going to probably be a little bit more than he can deal with, because he's not really a 35-pounder. He's really a 26 to 30-pounder. But skill for skill, if you watch the skills and the things that he does, and you understand boxing technique, you understand that this guy's on a whole nother level. That's why they call him the Matrix, because he's on a whole nother level than most people. But he, again, watched me growing up. So just like I watched Ali growing up, he watched me growing up. So it put his mind on a different planet, because what he watched was something totally different. Like when I watched Ali, that was something totally different. I didn't like Ali because he was normal. I liked him because he was abnormal. Loma didn't watch me because I was normal. He watched me because I was abnormal. You understand me? So to be good is one thing, but to be great, you got to be abnormal.
Why do you have Crawford over Spence?
Well, because Crawford has proven, like, he got more names under his belt, and he's been dominant at that weight class for a little bit longer than Spence has. And, like, when you go to a man's yard or go to a man's city and you do donuts in that man, in front of that man's whatever, and you try to get that man in a fight, like, if I would do that to James Tony, or James Tony would do that to me, we've been fighting out there on the street, because that's what school we come from. Nowadays, you can talk and do all that, and it's okay. But Crawford wouldn't do that, because that's how bad Crawford wanted to fight. But there was no real retaliation. So I got to put Crawford over him, because I've seen Crawford longer. I was working for HBO when Crawford blossomed. I seen Crawford beat people that, should have gave him a fight. The Russian, the German dude, the Cuban dude, when he was in his prime, Crawford ate him up. The kid that came back and won a lot of fights, I forgot his name, he come back and won some good fights. Crawford ate him up. Victor Posto, who beat one of my guys, Victor Posto ain't no bad fighter. Crawford ate him up. Anybody bought Crawford, he just eat him up. I mean, it ain't like he duck and dodge and pick. He take whoever they bring. But whoever they bought him, he ate him up. Earl, I hadn't really seen beat nobody but Kell Brook, who I never really been the biggest fan of Kell Brook. Earl did when I said that now he's going to get a test, which he did, I said, now we get to see how good he really is because he's going to fight Sean Porter. People got mad like, are you trying to say he ain't fought about it? He hadn't fought about it, but Kell Brook, who was off of an eye socket injury to Triple G before he fought him. Come on, bro, let's be real about it. I'm not trying, I ain't saying Earl ain't all that. I just ain't seen it because I ain't seen it with the opponent to bring it out of him yet. If I had seen it with somebody to bring it out of him, but I knew Porter would bring some of it out of him. And Porter did. It was a good fight up until Porter got dropped. So all I was saying was now we get a chance to see, does he really have the goods? And with Porter, he showed, okay, I got the goods. It wasn't as bad as we wanted to see it, but the goods were there. But then Crawford beat Porter a little worse than he did. So I still think, but Crawford also has been at that spot for a longer time. Earl came, but Earl ain't really, to me, he still don't have the signature win to put him in that position yet. You feel me? Only reason you got Crawford to beat everything they put in front of him. And he ain't ducked the dodge nothing. He won the first guy to have 4 belts. One of the only guy, but a few of them get all 4 belts at one time. He won up them. Because why? That's what he wanted to prove that he was the best. So it's like it's hard for me not to put him up there with Canelo and then Loma. And not saying that Spence can't get there. Spence got to go prove it to me a few more times. I got to see him in action with some really good fighters that are on his level that he dominates. The ones he dominated, like I said, Mikey Garcia came up 2 weight classes. I can't really, I can't count that so much. You feel me? Then Danny Garcia, that wasn't bad. That was good, but that was but he fights the right fight to beat Danny because he kept that pressure on Danny. But I want to see, and like I said, I'm not saying that Bud beats him. That don't mean that Bud gonna beat him just because I seen Bud do more. Just that I've seen Bud more than I've seen him. So that's why Bud gets my nod right now. Once he goes and does what Bud does, or if he go beat Bud, then he may be a better fighter than Bud. We don't know, but we don't know till we see it. You got to take it from the man. Bud did what it took to prove that he was the man. To be the man, you got to go beat the man. That's all I'm saying.
Right. What do you think about?
I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying that. Like I said, I don't mean that Bud better than him. You don't know till they fight. But as of now, we know what Bud can. I know what Bud can do because I've seen it. I ain't seen Crawford do quite. I ain't seen Spence do quite as much yet.
What do you think about a guy in that weight class that a lot of people are talking about, who I think is very special?
They better be looking out for him. They better be looking out for him because he's coming. You hear me? They better be looking out for him because he's coming. Trust what I tell you. All of them, while they playing around, they better keep their eyes on him now because he's coming. He is a force that's going to have to be dealt with very, very soon. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. For those of you watching, Jerome Boots Ennis is talking about. He's like 5'10". He switch hits.
Yes, sir. He's a big problem. He's just like Crawford. He go both sides. He can do it all. So I don't know who ain't been watching him, but you better pay attention to him because he is going to become the problem of the division soon.
Do you think he could have a chance against Crawford or Spence now, or you think he needs a little more experience?
He got a chance against either of them now. Now, don't get me wrong. The one thing I like about Bud is a dog. So if you ain't really, really real right there, then you don't want to see Bud. But we ain't really seen him prove that yet, which is what we got to see. But if he real there, then he going to give all of them a problem because he, as far as the fundamental game goes, he got all that. We just ain't seen him test it yet. But as far as fundamental goes, he got all that covered. So he going to be a problem for anybody. But Bud going to find out if he got it right here. And we know that because we seen Bud do that. We seen Bud hurt. We seen Bud in bad situations. We seen Bud in everything we can see him in. And Bud ain't going to back down for nothing. We know that. You understand me? So it's like when you see these guys prove themselves, it means something to me. And like I said, like I tell people all the time, I don't profess that, to be the smartest guy in the world, but I don't do things by my agenda. I do them by God's agenda. I try to. And for God to give me the opportunity to shave them 25 pounds and come back and prove to the world that I got this, they never would have thought that if it wasn't for that situation. If I didn't see me shaving 25 pounds, where I had to put myself in a really, really tough situation where I had no energy to win a fight and had to win a fight with this, they wouldn't know that I had it. I have it. So I wouldn't be proven if they hadn't seen that yet. So until you prove that, you can have all the skills in the world. Until you prove this, in my book, you ain't there yet.
Let's go. Hey, can we ask about the Mike Tyson exhibition you had last year?
Yeah. Hey, what about it?
How'd you feel about that? Did you guys spar before, or you just went on open?
First time that dude hit me in the chest, feel like a horse had kicked me in my chest. I said, "Oh my gosh!" I couldn't believe dude still could hit so hard. And what was more fascinating to me was I couldn't believe that he's still so hard to hit. I'm thinking right away when I see him do all this side to side, I said, oh, that should be easy for me. My hand, I got the fastest hand in boxing. Even at 53, 52, I felt like I had the fastest hands in boxing. So I was like, this should be easy. Man, I couldn't hit that dude. That dude thought that craziness. And what's bad is you can't over swing to it, because if you overreach at him, he gonna get you. You understand me? And like I say, he kicking like a horse. So I'm like, man, wow. But it was a fascinating experience for me. I really enjoyed it. And it was like, I would never do it again, but it was a great opportunity because I really want to see what it was like to be in front of Mike Tyson. And it ain't nothing nice, trust me.
No, I mean, he is a definite puncher, but you are a definite punch misser.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have these two great icons in the ring. People can't hit you with a handful of salt. So, for Mike to, for you to slip a Mike Tyson shot, probably one was like, oh shit, if I get hit with this, it'd be like a donkey.
It's over with. Hey, it's over with. When you hit me in the chair, I said, you can't get hit in the chin with that, because you get hit with that, it might be good night.
Yeah. People don't realize the huge size difference. I mean, if you look at Tyson's head next to you, just a big, he's like a pit bull.
Exactly. We 10 pounds apart, but we're way different in size. Size-wise, he can carry 300. I can't. So,
Roy, I heard you refer to yourself as Superman. Am I correct? Did I hear you call yourself Superman?
Superman, Captain Hook, either one of them is fine. You know what I mean?
You said Captain Hook.
They call me Captain Hook. They call me Superman.
Well, because the 4 hooks.
Yeah, you see.
There we go.
Captain Hook. Yeah, you see what it say.
Now wait a minute, Roy. I'm the Superman from Compton. Now, what, you the Superman from Pensacola? What's happening here? How we both gonna be Superman, Roy?
I'm Superman from another planet.
Uh-oh. Well, you know what? I got to go mess with these grandkids. It was such an honor to get to talk to you. Look, I'm gonna have to go along with this. So I'm gonna have to move him up on my list. He's right there with my boy Sugar Ray now. He's right there with him, and I'm so honored to talk to you. I got to go mess with you. I got 19 grandkids. We'll go run some of them down.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, Shannon.
It's a blessing from God, brother. Thank you.
Thank you guys for letting me be on you. Appreciate it.
Of course.
What you about to say, Jeremy?
Oh, shit, I forgot now. It was probably something cheeky.
Okay.
But yeah,
thank y'all, man.
Yeah, it was great talking to you. Let's do it again soon, man.
Always great talking to y'all, and I hope y'all enjoyed. Jeremy, good to see you again, brother. I hope all is well. Yeah. I really enjoy coming on talking to you guys. And like I said, I got love for everybody, man. I ain't got nothing against nobody, but the facts kind of are the facts. You know what I mean? They say pound for pound, who covered as much weight physically as I covered? You feel me? I went from 154 to 235 pounds pretty much. I mean, 226 pounds when I fought him. That's a lot of weight covered, physical weight. Now we talk weight classes, and we talk about physical weight. Pound for pound, ain't nobody did it better than me. So for the truth is, you feel me?
To me, in closing, when you put your hands behind your back, people don't realize knock the dude out. Not down, out. People don't realize how crazy that is and how
true.
No, it is. It's crazy.
It is true.
They don't understand. They don't but like I said, and thank y'all, man. I really appreciate that. Thank you. God bless y'all. Good to see y'all. Y'all take care. All right.
Peace out, Roy.
All right, you know it.